Today I am letting you know our favorite homeschool curriculum. If you've been around, you probably already know some of these things. I talk about them all the time, but today's video is focusing on our favorite homeschool curriculum, what is working and what has not worked for us so far. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Tiffany and this is Into Life Homeschool. My channel is all about homeschooling, motherhood and organisation. So if those things interest you, if you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe. The very first thing I'd like to chat about is Blossom and Root. It's level 4 that we have been using this year, and it has been amazing. I've been using Blossom and Root for about 9 months now, and it has been amazing. So we got the package that Blossom and Root sell, which includes science, geography, language arts, nature study, what am I forgetting here? Art as well. So I really trust Blossom and Root now. I've grown to trust them. It's been, no failure. Like there's been no book that we have gone, I'm not really interested in that, or this is something that is not really age appropriate or anything like that. My kids have thoroughly loved it. In fact, I would go as far to say they are some of the best books that we have read thus far in our homeschool journey. So we use level 4 and we actually use it together. So we homeschool literally every subject together except for math. This year has been wonderful. It's really been such a beautiful experience homeschooling like that. That's the first time I've ever done that, where I've done every subject, including language arts together. It's always been that one-on-one. And I think that's probably appropriate because prior to that, my daughter was still learning how to read and still learning, needing to spend quite a bit of time on phonics and things like that. So it makes sense to in the younger years to do that one-on-one time in language arts and things like that, because they're kind of just not on the same level. But and they're still not on the same level, but they're on the same. They're able to take in the same information and then apply it to where their ability sits at. And that's what I like about Blossom and Root. You can definitely do that with science as well. Her science studies are really set out so that you could use a level 4 even though you've got a grade 6 child, because it isn't speaking down to them. It's not dumbing down the information. It's given all the information, and they will take more away from that. Whereas a younger student may only take a certain amount and kind of, be capped at a certain level. So far, our favorite parts of Blossom and Root language arts have been the vocabulary pages. They are still our favorite. We adore them. It's a really a real highlight of our week. And we really, really love that the vocabulary words that we're learning tie in with the book that we're reading. So we hear it being spoken over and over in many ways within the book, which is really, really cool. And my kids pick up on that. They've picked up on that more than me. So it's been definitely something that they've loved. I've also loved that I can find really good Audible versions of the books as well. So I can read a bit, but then have a break and put it on Audible if I have to go and do some work myself or something like that. And then come back to them and they're still like completely engrossed in it. That has been great, particularly with Echo Mountain. I was going through a bit of a busy period in work at that time when I was reading that, and the kids did not want to stop. So I was able to just put Audible on, and that Audible version became the replacement for me reading because they just loved it so much. And that's unusual. They usually prefer me to read. So that was a really nice surprise. And that book was probably the best book we have read so far in our homeschool journey. Highly recommend Echo Mountain. It is a beautiful book, and that has been our favorite project so far as well. It was beautiful. It was just a beautiful story and highly recommend it. So the science for Blossom and Root is split into 2 parts. We have just finished our science of this physical world, which has been like force and energy, electricity, all of that kind of stuff. And we are now moving into human anatomy. So we've moved a little bit slower with science because I try to do it twice a week, but it was falling back down to that once a week kind of thing. So we have kind of gone a little bit slower with science, but that's okay. We've done a lot of excursions and things to like the museum and planetarium and all of that kind of thing. And they have learned quite a lot in that, and it has been one of those kinds of, science of the physical world, like that has been something that I wasn't super confident in teaching. So I really loved the guide with Science in Blossom and Root, because it's very supportive, but it also has different kind of variations of ways to teach it. So providing an example of a experiment that we can conduct to give that, let the kids come to that evaluation or that understanding that, the principle of that learning or the theme of that learning. And then I've also loved just the simple activities like a scavenger hunt, finding axles and things like that. So super adaptable, super easy to kind of work in with everyday life, homeschooling life, unpredictable, things that happen and you have to pivot and change. I really love that about a curriculum because it makes you still keep moving forward. It never feels like we're stuck and we haven't done science for 4 weeks because we're stuck at this particular thing because I needed this particular thing, and you can't move forward because if you move forward, you don't have that understanding that you needed in order to move forward. Each kind of lesson is in on its own, and it doesn't really matter if you've missed something and you move on to the next one or you skip it. It's not really the end of the world. It's very open, and you'll probably learn it in another way as you move forward anyway. I like that because I am someone that tends to not work well with rigid curriculum where you feel like you have to learn that thing before you move to the next page. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to fill in the next page. Like that's really not a great fit for our family. So for Art, Blossom and Root has been really wonderful. It's focusing just in on profiles in art. Science has a very similar aspect to it as well, where it works in profiles in science. So I've kind of tried to bring those two together and use them together. So we've done a couple of studies, but we've been moving much slower with that than what we would have been with science and language arts. And math. So science and language arts and math are pretty much our core subjects, and then I try and fit in the other things as we can throughout our week. And that seems to work quite well, unless we've got something that we're really loving. Like we started doing a Helen Keller project, and we're learning about, the kids had so many questions about eyesight and hearing. And so we've kind of gone on a bit of a rabbit trail with that. And I found a little program on Teachers Pay Teachers. That's the sort of thing that we do. We need to be open and able to facilitate the rabbit trails and take it as far as the kids need. And Blossom and Root really allow for that. It feels natural, and it feels really good to be able to do that with my kids and not feel like we're like stuck, or the learning might not end up where I think it's going to, but my plan still isn't. We're still heading in the same direction of my plan. It's just how we get there might be a little bit different, or a little bit more postponed, or we might have taken a detour. Really, it's all about, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey that's taken to get to where I think we're heading. And that is literally just having a love of learning. So the other thing we're doing is Curiosity Chronicles. It has been wonderful. I'm really loving it. I love that Curiosity Chronicles has a Minecraft component. So at the end of the lesson, you get a Minecraft challenge. My kids have loved that. They've been building all sorts of different things. It's been fantastic. And they do have challenges, and it kind of, like making a dwelling, making a cave home, like a cave place to sleep, and all of those kinds of things have been fantastic. So my son has really gotten into that. And with Curiosity Chronicles, we got the lap book, we got the recordings, and we've gotten the activity book as well. And we got a copy of the actual book so we can look at the pictures while we listen to the audio, but we haven't done that as much as I thought we would. So we listen to the recording 5 minutes per chapter. It's just so quick and so easy, and the kids seem to really stick with it and understand what they're saying. So that's a real bonus. It's only 5 minutes and it's very easy. And then they do a little activity in their lap book, which is connected to the actual audio that they listen to. And then they have the activity book, which is like usually a little game, or there's kinds of all sorts of different things that find words and things like that, or, you know, fill in the blanks type stuff. We don't always do that. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. So it just depends. Sometimes the kids just have an extra question connected to that, and we'll go and research that. But the lap book is a real winner. I really like it because it really kind of, you know, ties everything up together, and they'll be able to reference that later on in life as well when we move forward into other history curriculums as well. We'll be able to use that as our foundation. So I like that. And then we have a timeline that we have not finished putting together yet. So I haven't been doing the timeline work yet. We will finish that soon. So I'll finish putting that together soon, and then we can, you know, backtrack because we've only done a couple of lessons so far. But the cool thing is the Minecraft component and being able to do those games and the prompts and the challenges. The kids have really loved it, and it really makes them think about what they might have had back then in order to build. And I think that's really cool. I think it's definitely a bonus for my kids. They talk about what they listened to, and sometimes they do a little bit of role play, like what they've listened to and learned, and it really helps them kind of visualize and really take in what they might have used to create homes back then. So for geography this year, we've used a mixture of Blossom and Root, which we've done the tasty geography, which has been fantastic. It's included in the language arts component of Blossom and Root. It's essentially based around a book, as Blossom and Root usually is. And we cook a different cuisine, whether it's breakfast, lunch or dinner, from any part of the world, and we learn a little bit about that part of the world. We have a little mapping activity that we do, and we cook the food and eat it, and it's delicious and it's so much fun. Sometimes we include our VR. I have actually done a video on a geography lesson with Blossom and Root. I will add that into my description box below. And it has been so much fun. My kids love it. The cookbook's great. The food, the recipes are fantastic, super easy, use kinds of ingredients that you always tend to have, which is great. And the other part that we use, because we are in Australia and we kind of want to, continue learning about Australia a little bit more as well, is Ridgy resources. So I'll link her in the description box below as well. She does great lap books and just like little things that are fantastic for sample work as well. So I have to provide 3 samples with reporting, and these kinds of things that she does, they're really cheap to buy, and they're just great, effective, quick lessons that I can do that kind of work in with whatever we're doing at the time. So I love lap books. They work really well. They fold away, but they also come out and open up and present all the information in the best way possible for my kids. They're very visual, so it allows them to have that open up, and then you can tuck it away and put it away when you need to as well. Okay, so for math, we were using Right Start. I really, 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 really wanted this to work for us. I was in love with this curriculum, and I still kind of am, even though it's not working for us. I know it's a great curriculum. I just feel like we are kind of set in our ways. We've already learned what we've learned in math, and we kind of have to unlearn what we've learned in order for Right Start to really feel right. It's hard to explain. It is a very unique approach to math, I must say. And I thought that we would be able to get around that. And perhaps, if I persevered a little bit more with my daughter, she probably would, because she's still kind of in those early years. But my son is just completely overwhelmed by it, because it's just so many different terms that we would normally use different words for. And he really dislikes the slow pace that it goes. So it is very slow paced, and he finds it just gets a bit monotonous with some of the lessons. Like it's very, use the abacus first and all that kind of stuff. And he just really got frustrated with it because it was over and repetitive, like use the abacus. And he was just a bit over it by the end. So he really disliked it, and I thought that he would like it because it's very hands-on. See, this is what we learn. We live and we learn, guys. Like, I've been homeschooling for over 4 years now, and I thought I had it right. I thought got it in the bag. I thought that this was perfect. I was ready to lay down the money and invest in a more expensive math curriculum. And the thing is that sometimes how we think things are going to go just don't work, and that's okay. Now, I could make this work. I will be honest. Sometimes when a curriculum doesn't work, it's not just the curriculum. Like, there's nothing wrong with that curriculum. I know plenty of homeschoolers that use it and love it. However, I don't have the amount of time that it would take for me to make this curriculum work for us. So that is probably the biggest hurdle for me, is that I have to sit down and I have to work out how much time, as a working homeschool mum, I work half of my day, and I need to be able to know that we can cover our main schooling in a efficient time and still be able to work in amazing, trips and friendships, catch-ups, all of the things that we want to do. And I could not possibly do that spending 45 minutes with each child doing a lesson with Right Start, when I know I could be spending 15, maybe 20 minutes doing a lesson with each child. That adds up over time, and it means basically that we're spending most of our day just sitting at a desk learning, and that's not what we want. We don't want that. We want to know the basics of math. We want to, my kids tend to be pretty good at math, and that's why it's frustrating for them, because it's like, well, I already knew that. And it's just a little bit, the spiral approach. They're covering things that they already know. They're really frustrated. So we try and skip ahead and we go to the next one, but then we realize that some of the terminology that they use in Right Start is very different, and we have to go back and unlearn what we thought it was, processes and things like that. It's very hard to explain without going really in depth in it. Having said that, the workbooks are not working for us. We're not doing that. But the games, you can get the game book and the game manipulatives, the cards. They are fantastic, and we will continue using those. And the manipulatives are fantastic, and we'll continue to use those, except for the abacus. We won't be using that. Does anyone want an abacus? But we have moved on to Khan Academy for now. That is working. The kids are relieved. I'm relieved. The lessons are short and very to the point, and my kids are doing really well with it. They're not struggling, and we will readdress if we need to. I feel like we will need to. I feel like Khan Academy, although it is really great, I'm not sure it's 100% what we need as my son gets older and math gets a little bit more complicated. I do know he's going to need those like physical hands-on learning things, incorporating the manipulatives and things like that. I'd really love to have more guidance with it because I'm not super confident with math. It's probably my least favorite subject. So I want to have that support with a bit of scripting and things like that as well. Or even possibly like a video that they watch, like Matthew C, which is the other curriculum that I was kind of like, Right Start, Matthew C. That was what I was originally looking at, and I wasn't sure which one to go with. And I'm thinking that Matthew C might have been the better option for the fact that I have found a couple of friends since then that are actually using it, and they're saying the lessons are much shorter than what they say they are. So we shall see. I'll see how Khan Academy goes, and we'll continue with that and work it out, but we will not be continuing with Right Start. The languages. Talkbox.mom. It is amazing. We love it. We love learning Spanish, and it has been so much fun. It's very hands-on. I love Talkbox.mom. It's just such a fun program. The phrases are hilarious. The phrase book is fantastic. It's great. You can just kind of go through it at your own pace. As your family learns the new phrases, you can move to the next part. It includes the app, and you can have the book, or you can buy the package. They have like a subscription box, and you can pace that out according to how fast you want to learn. So I have stuck with the phrase book, and I'm loving it. It's fantastic. The kids are loving the lessons, and we're slowly progressing through it. I am actually an affiliate with Talkbox.mom, so I will leave a discount code in the description box below. You'll get a discount either on the subscription box or your phrase book. Either one, I highly recommend it. You get the app for free with it. You get lifetime access to the app with either purchase, and it's fantastic. It's such a great program. I highly recommend it. It's simple and easy and fun, and that's exactly what learning a new language should be like. It should be low pressure and just go at your own pace. So there you have it, my wins, my fails. We all have them, and I think I expect to pretty much have them throughout my journey. We can't always predict what is going to work well for us. And like I said earlier about the math curriculum, sometimes you know deep down that you could make it work, but the cost is just too much, whether it be time, energy, stress, whatever it is, or potentially, if your kid really doesn't like it, you're potentially sacrificing their love of learning if you push through it. And that's a price that I'm not prepared to pay. And I know a lot of you aren't either. We all have those moments where we realize this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I thought it was going to be. And we live and we learn. And every time we learn something like this, we know that little bit more about our kids. And if we look at it that way, it stings a little bit less, and we learn so much more about our kids. So it's moving forward, isn't it? It's making progress, and that's all we are here to do, is to continue creating a love of learning for our kids. And if you liked this video, if you enjoyed it, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel, and I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye. See you in the next video.